All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Thank
Paul
you.
Traney here. Yay. Ashley's here. Ashley Karr, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Give her a warm welcome. If you're clapping, we're probably not going to hear it, but if you could say hello to Ashley in the chat. Ashley, it's good to have you back.
Thank you.
By the way, because
Nice to
you were with us in the very first
Yes.
XD stream, so experience design, UI, UX. About, when was that?
April 2016.
Yeah, so she's been sitting back there on the couch ever since, by the way, just waiting. And now
Yes.
now we've pulled her up. She's been there for a year and a half now.
Yeah.
We just pulled her up. So
Yeah.
she's ready. She has a lot to talk about. And I think it's fun because you brought all these sketches too and all this stuff. So I'm
Yes.
really looking forward to this. So let us know where you're from. Always curious. Aloha. I don't know if you're from Kevin, where are you from, Kevin? I know you, but I don't know where you're from. So hello from Poland. Let us know where you guys are from. All that good stuff. Good to have you guys here. Looking forward to the next couple hours of all this fun stuff. So we got arts and crafts is a casual way of putting it, but I think you have some cool things to show and some other things. So I think we're also going to, do we get college credit for this? Because I think the amount of information you're going to cover, we should get college credit. So
If you guys want to argue for college credit, just get me on Twitter or LinkedIn and tell me, and I'll write something up for your professor.
yeah, no, that's awesome. And maybe you can kind of tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yes.
I know we can find you at Design and Think online, right, and on the social medias and all that stuff.
Yes.
But so you do, you have a background in training, of course, and I don't know if you want to just give a little overview about yourself.
Yes. So I actually just started with Oracle's cloud infrastructure. I'm going to be heading up their user research department, or user research program within the UX department, and this is actually my third week of being an Oracle
Third week, and you're like,
employee.
yeah, I know you just hired me, but I gotta go now. They kind of need me there, so I gotta go. Sorry,
This
Oracle.
thing with Adobe. But
So shout out to Oracle. Thank you,
yes,
Oracle.
shout out to Oracle and Oracle Cloud. And I actually tweeted and put on LinkedIn some things about our cloud platform, if anyone is interested, or cloud infrastructure. And then I have been working in UX for about 15 years. My undergraduate degree is in anthropology from UCLA. If there are any Bruins, shout out to the Bruins on the
I know we got
chat.
Netherlands in the house. We got
Yay.
Poland. What is it? Did I say Poland? Oregon? What is that? Anyway, so yeah,
Yeah.
Bruins in the house.
Oh, great. thank you.
Bangladesh,
Yes. And then
Brazil.
I have my master's in human factors and systems engineering. So I have social science background and anthro background. And I taught myself to code in 2002, and I haven't been doing coding for the last 10 years, I guess. But I've
Okay,
worked
but that
in a
is
lot
your
of
background.
places, done a lot of training, and now this is my second Adobe live stream. So thank
Yeah,
you.
so and we loved having you. I know we're gonna get some photos of
Yes.
us again.
From
so
a
this is
professional
good.
photographer and
We've
cinematographer.
hired a professional photographer, came in and is taking some shots as well.
Yes.
So yeah, this will be good, and I think you have an impressive background. I like going again. You go to designandthink.com, And anyway, so I think it's cool. Just kind of even if you go into the about section of your site is really fun because you kind of explain what you do, and everything you just said sounded pretty complex. But I thought the cool thing you said on your site is you really make the hard things easier and the easy things more fun. And I think that's like a good little I don't even know if that's your motto, but I think that is in general a good motto, right?
I try.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think all the stuff that you have here is just fun. And again, if we can make the hard things easy things fun.
Yes, exactly.
Good. All right. Well, so what shall we work on today, huh? Should we do some UI and UX stuff? Oh yeah, this is not Guinness, guys. Or is it? Maybe it is. We'll see in about an hour and a half.
Yeah,
Let's see how it affects me in an hour and a half. That's how you'll know.
Yes, Guinness, and I have English breakfast tea, so we're representing the two main beverages from the British Isles.
Yeah, but this isn't it's not really a Guinness.
Hi, Anita.
But we can pretend. Good times. All right, so Anita, Tim, let's get this party started. You got
Okay.
some things on your screen.
Yep.
I don't know if you want to take a look at that stuff. You want to do like an overview? Like, what's the plan?
Yeah, so I can actually show you, I'll show you guys on here.
So we'll start with some of
little
this stuff.
cards.
And
Yeah.
actually, I'll use this little Arlo mobile
this
camera.
Wonderful. So I have actually done design documentation using sketchnoting.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, is that not working?
No, it's good.
Okay.
You know how
Yeah.
you know how this goes.
And I also have it. I do actually
There we
have
go.
it in
We
here
gotcha.
as well. Perfect. Oh, yay.
All
All
right.
right. So the app that we're going to be making over the next couple days, it is a hand-drawn icon library application. This is my persona. His name is Sam. He's 40.
And what do you mean? Sorry, to step back. What's an icon library?
So,
Like-
this is designed for someone who's a sketchnoter, and sketchnoters will develop their own hand-drawn icons, and a lot of times they'll end up in journals like this, but there'll be stacks and stacks and stacks of journals with icons that sketchnoters have been working on.
Okay.
And so
Is that an example of one or no? You
no,
mean-
this is a blank one just in case we need to draw
Okay.
later. But I actually didn't bring in any of my journals because they're too heavy to carry on the airplane.
Gotcha.
And so we're designing this app for sketchnoters like Sam and I.
Sam.
There's Sam.
Sam is in his 40s.
Yes.
Living in Seattle. Is he
Yeah.
married? Single? What's his deal?
He's in
I
a
don't know.
committed relationship.
He's in a committed relationship. Sorry, ladies. He's off the market.
He is off the market. But he's been developing a bunch of hand-drawn icons for his sketchnoting, and he's been keeping these big stacks of journals. He can't take them with him when he goes to client kickoff meetings. It's hard to update them. And then the other problem is when he's sketchnoting live with his clients, he forgets the icons. So he needs an app that's going to help him keep track of all the icons, something easier to carry than a bunch of journals, and that he can quickly reference on the fly.
And you just kind of reference them, and then eventually, like, could you pull those icons into something else? Or
Possibly it could. We didn't get in. I didn't explore those types of features. It's mostly just to keep track of your icons, and then also to share icons with other sketchnoters.
Okay, way cool. So it might have a social aspect to it, kind of what you're thinking.
Yep, it has a social aspect as well. And so with the app itself, we can actually, if we go over this
There's
way,
the app.
the app. So Sam's gonna draw an icon, take a picture of it with his phone on the app. He'll title, tag, and categorize the icon. He can save it to his library. He can share it with other sketchnoters that are on the app. He can easily find that icon later, and then he can also take it with him because he takes his phone with him everywhere he goes.
Awesome. Yeah, that's way cool. So yeah, that seems simple enough, just like we kind of stated in the beginning. That's perfect.
Yeah.
So, yeah, awesome. And I love this whole diagram. So it's good. It looks like you. Is this the Y for sketchnoting or the Y for this app?
It's actually a little bit of both because there's overlap. It was supposed to be specifically for this app, but it's why I sketchnote as well, and Sam, the persona, sketchnotes. Sketchnoting is really fun. Hopefully the app is fun to use. This developing a new skill is something that, we often need support developing a new skill, and so this app will help you with that. The app is a powerful tool, but so is sketchnoting. It helps us communicate better, especially really complex concepts we can share quickly. So we went through like a couple of months of design documentation and design research in a few minutes just with sketchnoting.
Oh, nice. No, that is cool. And it's kind of like could you use sketchnoting to like sketchnote your app? Does that make sense?
Yes.
It gets kind of meta at that point.
Yes.
But yeah.
And actually, sorry to reach,
You
but I
did.
actually did that. So I used sketchnoting. This is really messy because I was actually doing it on an airplane
Okay, cool.
when
Yeah,
there was
we'll check that
turbulence.
out.
So it's very, very bumpy and the lines aren't straight at all.
This
But-
is working on the plane. Is that
Yeah,
what you said?
I was not the plane
the-
here. I was actually, it was a couple of flights ago. I was building the structure for the app, kind of thinking through tier 1 and tier 2 navigations. And this is when I was thinking it might be called mycons. But that's
it.
what you said yesterday afternoon. But one of the things I was hoping that I could get from the audience over the next few days is some good ideas for names for the app. And it could end up my cons is the best.
Let's even do this. I'm going to try this real fast too.
Okay.
I'm trying to not be so shaky. Oh, this is much better.
Oh, I see.
Thank you.
Juan Pablo. Paul has too much coffee. He has the shakes.
I know. It's like, okay, now you know that it's coffee and not Guinness. Mm-hmm. But there we go. So yeah, though that's cool. My cons, you kind of start to work out the flow of it, right? Sort of going. I guess we can kind of go.
Yeah. And Anita has a question. Is this your equivalent app to Scrivener? And I actually don't know. I don't know even if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Scrivener. I've never heard of that. I did a very cursory look to see if there are hand-drawn icon library apps out there. And I didn't find any, but to be honest, if there is an app out there that is like the one you're making, that's a good thing because it means there's a market and it means you can do a competitive analysis with them and then you can go head to head with them and try to beat them.
Yeah, nice.
So, Anita, I'd like you to, if you can share more about that, maybe on Twitter or something, and then I'll look into it after the show. But I did actually use 3x5 cards and some sketchnoting to do a handmade prototype initially. And then we'll get into XD and actually.
Okay, yeah. You got some more there that we should take a look at?
These I actually.
To make this, trying to not have the shakes. Let's try this one more time. Feel the zen.
So this would be the loading screen.
I love that name, by the way.
Mycons.
It's so clever.
And then once it's loaded, it prompts you to sign up. It says, "Hi, sketchnoters, create your hand-drawn icon library and connect with other sketchnoters." This is the empty set state for the My Icons feed, where Sam's icons are going to show up, and it's prompting him to create his first icon. This is the obligatory allow camera access.
Yeah.
His first icon is going to be a teapot, and there's a story behind that I'll get into. So this is him taking the picture with his camera, marking done, and this is where he titles it, gives it a category, some tags, it's saved, and then here's his My Icons feed, and there's the teapot icon that he just took a picture of that we see. You can also filter and sort, so it's easier to find things because he's going to be using this on the fly. There's our sort. There's this is the search is actually the public feed, so if other sketchnoters want to share their icons, they can. Now he's looking for ideas for teapots from his other sketchnoters on the app, and here's the little search results page. And then there's also a little page here where if people have favorited your work, you can see that activity, and if you followed anybody or favored any icons and there's activity on that, you can find that here. And then the account page. So that's what we're going to be making.
Yeah, I mean, here, this is so cool. I don't want to get these all kind of messed up, but I do want to point out the fact that you put all this work together for us. So thank you so much, because it's looking so good. That's all I'm saying. Look, it's colored. It all matches. It's all pretty. See how pretty this stuff is? Come on.
And work of art. If you want more information on sketchnoting, feel free to get in touch with me afterward. And Iconfly, ScribbleCons. Yeah, I've got some competitors out there that I'm going to annihilate with my cute icons. But these are just examples of sketchnoting that I'm doing as a UX researcher and program manager to help my team and my department kind of get together a research program.
So this is an example of sketchnoting?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Those are beautiful.
Thank you.
I don't know. I know that's like personal work stuff, so I don't want to get into too much detail there, I guess.
Yeah. but this we can dig into detail with. So.
Chris says hello.
Hi, Chris. And I want to say hi to Kyle and Justin. There are actually two people that connect with me on the chat last time, and we've been continuing to discuss their careers and their education via Twitter. So If anyone
since last time?
Since last year, since last April.
Very cool.
So hello to Kyle and Justin if you guys are watching. I told them I'd say hello to them.
Awesome. Kyle and Justin. Jose, is Elshan, Vicky, yeah, everybody welcome. Good to have you guys here. So that's what it is. So basically we're going to be able to the user would be able to sketch something out, capture that, categorize it, save it, and pull it up at any time, and then there's a social aspect.
Exactly.
Just to answer that last question.
Yes,
Cheers.
from Ahmed. Right. So if we want to, I do have.
So this. Go ahead.
I put these on. We could have saved your arms. I did put these in my lo-fi version of the prototype here just for reference. And then I did a little bit of mood boarding. The top line is just for look and feel. I travel a lot, and so I use the Gaia app for their streaming yoga classes if I'm traveling and don't, want to find a yoga class near me. And I really like the look and feel of their app. So I stole their bluish green and a couple of other things from them.
Okay.
And then in terms of functionality, I looked at Microsoft Office Lens, Marie Kondo's organizing app. I love Marie Kondo. And then Pinterest and Twitter I looked at because their functionality is actually really similar to what I'm looking for.
Yes. That's good. Kind of doing your research, seeing what you like out there, kind of what resonates with you and everything. That's awesome. And honestly, I guess what people are used to, because even when we get into the social aspect, like, are you thinking about how Twitter and Instagram executes likes and that sort of?
Precisely. Okay. And actually, I can't remember if it's Pinterest or Instagram. It's actually Instagram. My navigation and their navigation is actually, so I threw away a lot of these sketches, but I came to this navigational conclusion. I think this is the right navigation for me. And then I went and did my comparative analysis. Okay. And my navigation and Instagram's navigation is exactly the same.
Interesting. It's interesting that how you did that process in that specific order.
Yeah.
Because that might be lodged in the back of your head, but you started your sketching first and then went out to see what's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not a heavy Instagram user, so I wouldn't. I don't think that it was actually it was driving my subconscious. I don't think so. And then the scenario for the app is, so Sam, our persona, he's landed a contract with Marie Kondo, who I'm a big fan, so I wanted to work her in for an app that helps people organize and minimize household goods. So he has to develop a series of hand-drawn icons relating to household goods to prepare for his client kickoff meeting. And then the first icon that he draws is a teapot, because I like tea and teapots. So I was like, how can I work that in as well? And then
it even says that on your site.
Yeah.
What does it say? Oh, tea enthusiast. And tea enthusiast.
Yeah, and I'm drinking tea right now. She's not lying. And then, so he decides to download the My Icons app that he heard about so he can keep track of his icons on his phone and reference the app when he sketch notes during his meetings with Marie. So let's watch Sam as he uses My Icons. That's the scenario leading up to, I wired it up wrong, leading up to the landing screen. And that's actually where we're going to start in XD. So this is something that I encourage people when I teach and train UX. I encourage people to work things out on paper initially, and it does not have to look as nice as mine. I mean, I
feel like you had some fun.
It was very fun.
Yeah.
It was very fun. But a lot of my sketches when I'm just on a regular workday, they're very messy. I wouldn't like to show anyone outside of my team the sketches. But especially when we do mobile apps, we do the 3x5 cards first. We work out the flow here, and we actually do what I just did. We take pictures of them. We bring them into our prototyping software. And then we already know what things we need to make symbols, what things we can use the asset library for. So it just makes everything go much faster to work things out on paper first.
Yeah, that's good. That is good. Especially, again, when your sketches look so nice.
So do we want to, are there any?
I want to know who else is drinking tea out there. Looks like Kevin is.
Yeah.
Any other tea drinkers?
Yeah. And Juan Pablo, it's Design and Think is my Twitter handle. And then LinkedIn, it's Ashley Karr UX. My
Karr UX.
Yeah, and my website is designandthink.com. And, this is just a concept app, Kevin, and I don't have any plans to actually develop it. But if there are any app developers out there that want to go in on it with me, you know how to get in touch with me.
Oh, yeah, take advantage of this opportunity.
Come on, guys. We're open to partnerships here.
Awesome.
So,
yeah,
do we want to get going in the design, or do
I kind of want to
kind of
see a little bit more of like this
Okay.
flow, because I feel like you went through a couple of those screens.
Yeah. So I actually did all of this I did everything ahead of time.
And we're done. All right, we're gonna go now. We're good, guys. We did all our homework.
I'm an
She studied.
over-preparer.
She prepared. we're out. But you did. It's good. You went through this work.
I did. So I have. That's lo-fi. These are my hand-drawn wireframes. Then we have a lo-fi version, if you'd like to see that, since we've already seen my hand-drawn. So this is what my icons might look like as a lo-fi prototype. And you can actually go ahead and run usability tests with the paper 3x5 cards. You can certainly run usability tests with something at this level as well. Hi, Drew, you're from Seattle. Yeah, 3 days all at once. Done. Thank you, Kevin. And again, this is the landing screen. So we just went through the landing screen, and then we have the sign-in page. I didn't build out the login and explore legs because they weren't part of the flow that we're going to do today. So there's sign in. And again, you can see that it's lo-fi. I just made a triangle with the pen tool and then a little line down from the pen tool. So I just really quickly whipped up some icons.
Like a filter?
Exactly.
Gotcha.
It's a filter. This is just a placeholder. It's an ellipse or oval. We call it ellipse in XD, correct?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I guess if you want to get technical, it's an ellipse. Right? Because an ellipse could be a circle or an oval. Mm-hmm. But
they call it. I get all of my.
I just call
it's
it.
an
I say
ellipse.
circle.
That's why.
It's circle, square.
Yeah.
Because I think above it's like a rectangle.
Yeah. The keyboard shortcuts R for rectangle, E for ellipse. And then I just have little placeholder ellipses for the icons down there. The software for usability testing, Ahmed, the gold standard is Moray, but they lack certain functionality. When I do remote, either moderated or unmoderated usability tests, I've used and really like Validately, user zoom, and user testing. I really like those three. And then for more IA related tests, I really like optimal workshops options. So those are the software that I would recommend. Are we good with questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're good.
And then, so here's the empty set state for Sam. If he wants help or to watch a video, I have those down there as well. But again, I didn't build them out. So then clicking create would pull up the camera functionality. So you'd have to get access, don't allow. And this is my lo-fi prototype version.
No.
It's not to iOS standards.
Well, and so are you aware of like the iOS kits and
Yes.
stuff? Yeah.
And this is something that I think is wonderful. You can go to, where is it? File, get UI kits, Apple iOS, and then it'll take you straight to Apple. And when I saw this, I got so excited. It's such a huge deal to have on apple.com the UI kit ready and available for you.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome.
If you guys want to set up your environments for the next few days, I recommend downloading this, because we're actually, on the third day, we're going to start grabbing assets from here so that we can have it look like a proper app rather than a low to mid-fi prototype. Yeah.
No, and the thing is you have a lot of this already worked out, you know, essentially. So I think a lot of this gets to be like the hard part. I think it's easy as a designer to get lost in the details of, because I'm already thinking, oh, that's a nice color, and I would get lost in that color. And I know at least for the first step, you're just working out the flow.
Exactly.
But it
And
looks good.
in terms of this color, I literally what I did to access that color. So on the very first the first screen, the number one. And the other thing is, I'll go ahead after the show. I'll go ahead and post these. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I'll post links to my files so that you guys have access to them, and you can follow along if you want to, just like any other
cool.
Adobe tutorial.
Yeah, and we can get Gus and people to post it in the chat too. Like
That's
a
great.
link when we get that squared away.
Wonderful.
Oh, and see, Kevin has good ideas. Like,
Yeah.
what if you made an Apple Watch app, and then could you wait? Oh, you
Yes.
could draw them on the go on your wrist.
Was this so Kevin? I think you and I share a brain. I actually have some ideas for this type of thing. Yes. We'll talk after. We'll talk.
I love it.
Yeah.
See, that's good.
I have to apologize for my laugh. I can't help it.
No, nobody can. Your laugh is your laugh. It's like your signature. Like, you're gonna laugh the way you're gonna laugh. And It's awesome.
So thank you for noticing on 4K.
They're like, we couldn't help but notice. No, just joking.
And that she has a
you have a
very
big-
bizarre laugh.
It's a good time one.
Oh my
All
gosh.
right.
All right. Poland.
Poland's in the house.
I was going to show you how I grab that color. So I also I will get lost in things like that as well. And in order to keep things moving, especially if we don't have an established style guide yet, I will do something like, where did you go? Let me make this a little bigger so it's easier for you all to see. So I'm going to zoom in here. I told you that I like the look and feel of the Gaia app. So I just screenshotted this on my phone, and you'll probably recognize the button in this. I really liked this layout. So I stole the layout as well.
Good for you.
I
Go
stole like
for
an
it.
artist. This is a great book, by the way. And then all I did was I just pressed R for the rectangle tool, drew a little, I'm going to draw something that's going to end up like the sign up button. So I just drew that, and if you come over to fill, Fill, not Phil. I have a friend, Phil. I've worked with Phils before, and anytime you talk about Phil, they're like, "Why are you talking about me?"
Is
Oh
it
my
their
gosh.
joke that they just
That is-
milked
yes.
all till the end of time?
Yes, yes. So I just grabbed the eyedropper tool, came over to Gaia's button, and there we go. And then if I want to start adding it to my asset library, then I can come down here in this little icon here with the two little circles.
Yeah, it's kind of. Do you mind moving that up a little bit?
Ah, yeah.
Just
so
or
that they
moving it
can see.
over or something like that. Because look at how it's like
Oh,
behind
yeah.
our heads.
Ah.
But yeah, it looks like two little. I don't even know what it looks like. It's like
This
I don't know, cell division or something. I don't
Yeah.
even know.
We should ask Tallinn how they came up with that
Yeah,
icon.
so-
But here's their the assets panel. What is it? Shift Command Y is the keyboard shortcut to get there. I'm trying to get better at keyboard shortcuts for XD.
Hey, aren't we all?
I think we all are.
We all.
But you can, so I've got this color. I should be able to just click here, and bam, there's my color.
There we are.
So I can grab this color at any
Bam.
time. And I try to keep it, I do grayscale wireframes quite a bit, but I will always have one color to show important interactions. So it's kind of like black, gray, white, and then one interaction color.
Cool.
Yeah.
And that when you say interact, like that's the color that your eye is supposed to go to, like it's yeah. I mean it could be like your highlight color or anything like that.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
Exactly. And I see questions about my portfolio. If you go on my website, you can see my work. I'm much more of a researcher to interaction designer. I'm not typically a visual designer on teams. I usually have someone like Paul with his talents kind of shoring me up on the visual design end. But that's actually one of the reasons why I love coming here and do these live streams, is so that other people with backgrounds like mine that are a little more in the social sciences or engineering, they can see how they can use tools like XD to really bolster them as visual designers as well. But what I tend to get paid for in my regular job are things like figuring out flows and interactions.
Yeah, so you will be sitting next to or near a designer or something, like you'll have somebody who can go ahead and execute on.
Exactly.
You just tell them what to do.
Yep. So
is
this
that
is
easy?
A typical partnership that I would have at work.
Yeah, and so that's good. I think since you mentioned designing and stuff, because I think designing is the fun part.
Let's go into it now.
Yeah, we will, but I also want to mention a contest that we're having.
That's right.
By the way, so if you guys aren't aware of this, Juan, Pablo, and Kaio, and Kevin, and Andrew, and everyone, we basically have a contest. I'll tell you about it right now. All you need to do is make a shopping app. It has to be a minimum of 3 screens. So just design it in Adobe XD. Start linking screens together. So go ahead and prototype it. Anything around shopping, okay? Anything at all, okay? So do your testing. And then the big thing is sharing it with us. So you can create a link in Adobe XD. You will get that fancy link, and you will post that to Twitter. So with the hashtag, as it's showing right now, right in here, hashtag Adobe Live.
Yes.
So Adobe Live is how you guys can let us know about this. We'll take a look at it. We're going to give you Creative Cloud if you guys submit something to us. Next hour and a half, we're going to go ahead and pick a winner, essentially. Has to be 3 screens, has to be around shopping, and you'll get Creative Cloud. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
And it's just fun. It's just fun creating stuff. And honestly, I think XD is pretty darn fast overall. So you could just start making things, copying images, pasting from even the web, pasting them in, because that's essentially how you got to this point.
Exactly.
Like taking colors from here and there, and then start creating your whole little library there of assets, which is sweet.
Yep.
So that's my spiel.
So that's what we're going to do together.
Got it, Tim. Make it happen, Zane. All right. I'm all done. Yeah.
Yeah. And thanks for the comments and questions, you guys. It's good. Yeah, keep them coming. Alrighty. So I'll show you actually how I do my best to make the hard things easy and the easy things fun. As you said, thank you for reading that. We put a lot of time and energy and effort into it.
I thought it was
really
like so
appreciate
good.
that.
No, like it was just like, oh, that is so good. Right? Because simple doesn't have to mean boring either, and I even looking at this stuff, it just like still has a playfulness and stuff like that. Like that's what, hopefully everybody's having fun in their jobs, and if they're not, I'm glad that they're watching and are going to have fun with us. So, that's good. Just listening to your laugh. How could you not smile and have a good time? We got colors, we got markers, we got little pastels. I don't know, is it makeup? Is that makeup? Is this eyeshadow?
So just to show, some people had questions. If you want to see,
just go full screen.
If you want to see how I actually made, you can't pick up on the background very well, because of the bright lights that they have to make it look like Paul and I are 10 years younger than we actually are.
Yeah, it's all good.
But
I'm really 62.
Yes, and I'm 75.
Yeah, there we go. That's why we had to go earlier. We gotta hit dinner at 4.
Exactly, exactly, and we get a discount too.
We get a discount at 4. Then we're gonna be in bed.
So there's actually some color in the background to make the white areas pop, so it's easier to read. And I actually do that with pan pastels. And the way that you apply pan pastels to the pages is with cosmetic sponges. There are probably a lot of people with art background watching, so they know. But you take cosmetic sponges, and even for the little details, you can actually get an eyeshadow sponge and do eyeshadow sponge. So he's gonna make himself green, and then he can become the invisible host.
Well, I was trying to see if it was the same green as that. Oh yeah, it's starting to key out.
Yes.
I'm just gonna have a floating
So
hand.
he should not.
Do you mind?
Yes, and if you get an allergic reaction to those pan pastels, because they're not meant to put on
Wait,
put
what?
on skin, I cannot be held
disappear.
responsible. So anyways, it's pan pastels, and Blick was having a sale like 2 weeks ago. So go to Blick when they're on sale. And then I use Copic markers. And anytime I say Copic, someone tells me it's Copic. And then anytime I say Copic, someone tells me it's Copic.
And you probably disagree on GIF versus GIF.
I actually say GIF or GIF just to
Good
make
for
everyone
you.
happy.
No, I would do it to tick people off.
I just want
GIF?
people to get along.
Oh, okay.
So, anyway, so I have these pens that have
Is that green?
This is a kind of a turquoisey green. It's called Sea Green G12, just in case you want to purchase any of the pens. And this has a chisel tip on one end, and then it has a kind of a highlight tip on the other.
Sorry.
So, yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, so I use these for my sketch notes. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Arts and crafts.
Yes. And this is one other thing that I want to show. I do mess up a lot. And so I have whiteout. And then there's another thing I forgot to bring. They're white stickers, like the name badge stickers, but with nothing printed on them. And
Like
then
this, okay.
yeah, and then you can just use these, like if I messed up on one of the palm trees, and I could just slap that white sticker on top and then just keep drawing over it. So I do
like-
mess up a lot.
It's like
and
undo for the real world.
exactly, real world undo. So those are kind of my main tools that I use for sketchnoting.
I like it. So that's what's in here in case you guys are wondering.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Okay.
It is very colorful and vibrant. I wish it kind of picked up on the screen, but
Yeah.
it's very beautiful.
Alrighty. So I want to show you guys again the kind of the quick, easy ways. I'm gonna change to go ahead and save that, but I want to close it. So if you have Creative Cloud, which I hope you do, and if you don't, I hope you win the contest.
That's right. Good point.
I have Creative Cloud here. I have the project here set up, my icons. I also I have a lecture on naming conventions, numbering systems, and file and folder structures because I really love organization. And I used to teach my students how to organize their files and name their files and name their layers. So you'll actually see some of that today. I have my prototypes here. What I'm gonna do is duplicate my wireframes. I took photos of the 3x5 cards, and then I brought the 3x5 cards into this file. I duplicated it. I'm gonna rename this as 2. My icons, and this is actually the lo-fi prototype, and then this is, I'm gonna say live stream, so this is what we're gonna do together. And then I'm gonna go ahead and open that up. So I'm gonna start from where the hand-drawn wireframes ended, where that file ended. I'm not gonna work with these, I'm just gonna use them for reference. This is kind of my design documentation. So we're actually gonna start, I'm gonna flip over to the layers section. We're actually gonna start from the landing screen, and we're gonna start building from there. And I do have a question, Paul, if you happen to know if there's a keyboard shortcut to bring to the center of your canvas an artboard. Do we have that yet?
Yeah. It's is it Command 2? Command 1, 2, hold on, what's Command 3? Hold on, wait for it. Zoom to fit all will put everything in one view.
Is that's Command
you'll do,
O?
Yeah, Command 0 should do it.
0. Okay, so that's everything in your canvas.
And then do, like, select an artboard, like
Okay.
if you have one selected.
Okay.
Then just go to Command 1.
Oop.
Oh, that just makes everything 100%. Let's do this. Zoom to selection, Command 3.
Command 3. Okay.
Command 3 will, if you have your artboard selected, it'll zoom just to your artboard that you have selected.
Command 3.
Yeah,
okay.
and if you're, it's cool, like if you're working on, I mean, I'm working on this little icon, but obviously Command 3 will take that full screen, you know, and then I'll bounce out to 100%, back in Command 3, Command 0, just like that.
Okay, so Command 3, perfect.
Yeah, sorry.
Let's see.
Long-winded answer for...
Yeah.
Sure.
Kevin, you're a smarty pants.
We're gonna hire him for Adobe marketing right here. Is
Absolutely.
what we're gonna do. Like, you do. Kevin does not work for us, but I think he should. We're writing that. Marketing's like, that's a good one. So.
All right. So if anyone notices over here, the measurements are a little off because the 3x5 cards were shorter. The aspect ratio is just a little bit off. So it's actually 667, I believe. That is the, oops, I need to unlink those. 667 should be the right height for, oh my goodness. Let me go here. Landing, Command 3, 667. And then we have the right size to work from, 375 by 667. So I already have pretty much all the artboards that I need. But as you all probably know, the keyboard shortcut to make a new artboard is A. So you can always just draw your artboard. And then if you want some shortcuts to get the right aspect ratio, pixel dimensions, I'm using iPhone 6.7, so that's 375 by 667, if you want to follow along with me. Oh yes, Kevin needs money to invest in his design education and tools, so it sounds like a match made in heaven. All right, and then the other keyboard shortcuts that I use a lot are Escape to kind of back out of wherever I am in the environment, and then V to get the selection arrow tool.
Oh yeah, see, that's good.
So I use those quite a bit, and I'll try and let you guys know when I'm using keyboard shortcuts so that you can learn them as well.
Same as the selection tool for Illustrator. And Photoshop, I think, V should give you the selection tool. I should double check that, but that is good.
Yeah.
And that's usually what,
Yeah.
Perfect.
So I just hit T for the text tool, and I am just gonna click my mouse. Oh, I forgot I brought my board with me today because I'm doing a lot of design work. So, and I'm gonna write my icons. Another keyboard shortcut that I really like to use, I'm going to escape out. So the bounding box around the text is selected, and then I'm going to hit enter. And enter highlights the text that's within the bounding box. So that's another big time saver as well. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to change, actually change the font. I'm going to go from Helvetica to SF Pro Display. And if you download the iOS guidelines, you'll be able to install that font on your machine. If you don't have it, Helvetica is fairly close. It takes up pretty much the same amount of space and all that. And then I'm going to hit enter, and there we have SF Pro Display. I'm going to want my font bigger, so I think I'm going to go to 48. That looks okay. And then I might try light, because I like the lighter fonts for headlines. They're kind of in style right now, fairly popular, so I am going to use that. And then I'm going to try making it black. And escape there, and let's see what happens if we center it on the screen. So that's centered my icons, and then if I hit escape, it helps me back out of it, and then V, I get my selection tool again, and I actually don't need that guy anymore, so I can just
there we are. Yeah, no, that's good. And I like the use of, just like a design tip, I think it's really smart of you to go with a thin font anytime you go larger with a font. My 2 cents are make the font thinner, or just make it look like it's not slapping you in the face, right? And that's what a thin font does, or one that's a shade off from the background.
Yep.
So yeah, that's good.
Absolutely. And then the nice thing about that, in terms of cognition, we need to make sure there's enough contrast between the font and the background for readability. So good design, and then good design. Good design.
Felicia, welcome. Oh, good to see you here. Yay. Awesome. So Felicia was asking me actually yesterday about sort of like live streaming schedule. So we're going to be here for the next 3 days. We have you for the next hour, and then again 2 hours tomorrow and the next day. But we're going till 5 today and for the next couple days. So this is fun. But always stay tuned, and that'd be good.
Yep.
For you.
And there's a question, Ahmed has a good question, the difference between wireframing, low fidelity prototypes, and high fidelity prototypes. It's a great question. Wireframes are basically just two-dimensional representations of some kind of design, but the way that we use the term tends to mean that it looks very rough. It doesn't look very much like the end product, and it's still early on in the design phase, so a lot of things are unknown, so we don't put a lot of energy and effort into making something look production quality in terms of the visual design yet. And then let's see, the low fidelity prototype. So in terms of fidelity just means loyalty. And when we're talking about loyalty in design and engineering, what we mean is fidelity to the end product, or loyalty to the end product. So how loyal or how closely does this represent what the end product is going to look like? And so if you have hi-fi or high fidelity, that means that what you're working on now is very close to what the product is going to look like when you release. Low fidelity, it doesn't look very much like what it's going to look like when it releases.
Yeah, and like you said, it gets kind of tricky when you're, as soon as you start adding a little bit of design to something, the client could get caught up on that stuff.
Exactly.
So there's certain points in the process, like pay attention to the design, sometimes maybe don't pay attention to the design. I think as soon as you start adding colors and things like that, people just recognize it.
Exactly. And that's this is one of the reasons why I'll do something like this. This is a mood board. One step, and I don't have one of these prepared, a style tile would actually start showing your clients or your executives or whoever it is you're building the design for. You can actually show what the visuals would look like, so what colors you'd be using, what your font ramp would be, and so you can show your client, it's going to look similar to this, but right now we need to work out how it's going to function. So you can appease that side of people that really want to see the beautiful aspect of the design. So you can appease that side of them with a style tile and mood board while you're still trying to work this out. That's good. The other tip I have is to actually run tests. A lot of times they'll call them preference tests for look and feel and visual design. So running tests with participants on the visual design before you make a decision is a really good idea as well.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
All right.
We're gonna be testing on you guys.
Yes.
And by the way, you could test us. Test us by making something.
Yeah.
And posting a hashtag Adobe Live, and you can win Creative Cloud. So just a fun way to review some stuff that the community makes.
How much more time do they have?
They have 1 hour for the next Creative Cloud giveaway. Just FYI. So
get busy.
Yeah, and just so you guys know, there is another contest. There's a Make It Impactful contest as well. That gives you till September 23rd, and basically it's using the hashtag Make It Impactful. You can just do a search on that. Actually, hopefully Gus can post the link for the Make It Impactful contest. But basically it's creating just like one screen, so a landing page or like a home screen, and they can win actually like a lot more, like Creative Cloud, $700 Visa gift card, like mentoring from some awesome people, which I think is super cool, and they're just like making one screen.
Yeah.
All about making an impact. So you have to put some thought into it, but I thought that's kind of cool. So enough with the sales stuff. I'm trying to give you things. I'm not even selling. I'm just trying to give you stuff.
Yeah. Excuse me, Kevin, and that's a really good suggestion. My scribcons. I know my icons is very simple. So let's actually see my scribcons. Let's see if that can actually fit my scribcons.
Yeah, we're open to suggestions, guys.
Yeah. And yes, I've done design sprints and led design sprints, and they're really fun, but they're also really exhausting. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so we'll call it my scribcons.
And that's a good test, because honestly, if you ended up making a multilingual app, like just the length of it is what you just did there, and I was like, oh.
Yeah. Will this
Okay,
fit?
it's my scribcons until we decide to change it or not change it.
Exactly. And this 48 SF Pro Display 48 light black, I am going to add it. I am in the assets panel right now. In the colors section, there's a plus button. I'm going to go ahead and add it. Oh, not the colors. We don't need to add black. Well, we can't add black. Character styles. Sorry. That was my mistake. SF Pro Display Light 48 under character styles. So there's something really cool that we're going to be able to do on the next screen, because I'm actually going to use this up here, and then you'll see that if we ever want to make changes and we're using the assets panel properly, it makes making changes quite easy. All right, so we're in the next screen. I actually need to make this just a little higher so we can adhere to the proper aspect ratio, the 667. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to need my text again. I'm going to stick that there and say my scrib cons. Escape to back out of it, and then enter so everything's selected. And then if I hit this, I just hit SF Pro Display in Light 48 in my assets panel. There we go. There's the font that I'm going to want to match this guy here. Hit escape again, hit V, my selection tool, and then I'm going to nudge this into the top corner. And I'm going to stick with gutters of 20 pixels on the right and left. So I'm going to hit shift right arrow twice. That gives me 20 pixels. And then shift down arrow. That gives me 20 pixels from the top. I'm actually going to nudge it down 50 pixels. So I need 1, 2, 3 more. Just to kind of see if that looks right when I get more of the icons out there. Text again. And then I'm going to add my high sketchnoters. That's a little too big though. So I'm going to pull this down to maybe 36 for now. And we'll just kind of go from there. I'm going to duplicate this, bump this down, and enter. It'll say create your hand-drawn icon library, ampersand connect with other sketchnoters. Escape there. We've got sign up, login, and explore. I can remember that. So I'm going to go ahead, just so we have an easier time seeing it, I'm going to delete the background now. And this guy's going to be a little too big. So we'll go through and fix that in a moment. We're just kind of laying out the page now, as you can tell. And then remember up here, we were stealing from the look and feel of Gaia.com. So I'm actually going to trace for you guys. I'm going to trace this button because I'm going to want it to be roughly this size. And I'm pretty sure they have the gutters of 20 pixels as well. And it looks like the height, I'm a little off on the height, but I think this is actually going to be 30 pixels high. The fill, I'm going to pull it in to 5 pixels. That's a little much. 2 pixels is actually a little closer. I don't need a border. And then the fill, if you remember from last time, I grabbed that eyedropper tool. And there we go. So there's the fill.
So let's just click on that fill color, just to open up that. So, and then it's kind of cool because you could start adding them if you hit the plus button, like just FYI, so you don't have to travel to the other screen or whatever. It's kind of just another way for adding a color in assets, just FYI. So.
And then this is the other way.
That would actually be the preferred way, because it's just all in one spot. It's one click away as opposed to two.
Yeah. So this one would be, this is like adding it to your color palette here, and then this one is adding it to the assets panel.
Yeah. Oh, just have a question here, which is going to lead us to another tip. First of all, how easy it is to design in After Effects. Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator, and import. You just literally do a copy and paste. I did want to say that, notice how you have a solid color. You can actually kind of do that drop down and you can get a gradient. That's kind of hidden for people, so I'm just making sure people know about it.
Yeah.
And just so you guys know, if I can copy and paste gradients from Illustrator as well. So if there's a radial gradient in something, then use Illustrator, design as you wish, and then copy and paste, and even a radial gradient will come through, because I'm just pointing out that basically you just have a linear gradient in here, and that's how you get a radial gradient.
Are there going to be other gradients coming so that you can stay within XD? Like a few releases from now, there will be radial gradients. Do you know? Can you talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's all going to be like, if it's supported in like CSS, then yeah, it would be typically supported here.
Okay.
So we won't get too crazy.
Okay.
But I hope there might be some really cool things for gradients coming to Illustrator that I may or may not know about.
Yeah.
Anywho.
So, let's see. How much freedom in designing out there? Many guidelines to follow? Yes. Lots of guidelines. One of the reasons why I do hand sketching first, Kevin and anyone else out there, is that I try to not get into analysis paralysis, or there is another term that one of my friends came up with. It's implementation blank. I don't want to say the word. It rhymes with implementation, and it's about getting stuck.
Oh, I don't even know the word. Come on, whisper it to me. What is it?
I feel silly doing this. It's implementation constipation.
Oh, constipation.
And so people...
It's okay, you can say that.
People will get stuck
Implementation.
on wondering... Yes.
Constipation. Are you dealing with implementation constipation?
It's another form of analysis paralysis.
We have the cure for you.
You can end up spending hours, days trying to figure out if this one particular way of designing this one particular thing is fitting with iOS guidelines, with your company's guidelines, etc., etc. And so I just force myself and my teams to blow past that initially, to just get the flow out on paper that we need to design, and then we can go back and refine. And overarchingly, that's way... Oh, he was sharing one earlier. Awesome, thank you. Yeah, the iOS human guidelines, absolutely, those are great. But yeah, I have a kind of a rule of thumb, which is get it out first, and then go back and refine.
No, get it out. Get it. I don't know. I can't get back to the word constipation now that you're saying all this stuff. Get it out. What are you?
I'm trying to be polite. But I've got some funny people that I work with, and a lot of times funny is not polite. So, okay, so we have this beautiful radial gradient. I was planning on sticking a gradient in, so thank you for intuiting this. And I'm gonna make this just a little bit lighter so that it's not quite as extreme. So maybe something like that.
Subtlety is key. It's good. I like it.
And then I am going to hit my T key for the text tool. And this is actually a little trick that I do if I'm going to be creating text symbols and I need the text to stay centered. So I'm actually going to create a text area rather than just a line of text. And I'm going to make it the length of the button. And then, oops, I lost it. Let me draw a new one, because I hit the wrong key. And then I'm going to type in sign in. Highlight this. I'm going to need it to be centered. And what this will do, so I'm creating a symbol. We're going to have other words that end up in the middle of the button. And so if you create a text area that's the width of the button, and you have the text that the symbol is based off of centered, then you can just go into your different instances of the symbol and you can change the text, and you don't ever have to worry about the text shifting. It will always stay centered.
Yeah,
so it's
I like
a little pro tip.
Were you going to make that a symbol?
Yes,
Sorry.
I'm gonna make it a symbol.
The text and everything?
Yes. I think I'm gonna bump this down to something like, let's do 17 for now. I think that's what I was doing when I was practicing ahead of time. We're gonna stick to SF Pro. And I believe was this light as well? Oops, I need to make it white. So let's just try this for now. We can change it later if we want to, and it's actually quite easy to change with the symbol tool. So I am going to select my text, hit Shift, select my button, and then Command G to group it. I'm going to head back over to my Layers panel. I am going to name this Primary CTA. That stands for Call to Action. This button is going to be my primary call to action button. And you can hit Tab to get out of the layers if you want to. Another pro tip, if you are going to be using the prototype state in XD,
yeah.
You're gonna want to group your elements on your screen and group your layers on your screen into the groups that you want to have kind of move and change together. So you want everything that's part of your button to be in a group, because that's going to affect what you're going to be able to click and cause some kind of interaction later on in the prototyping phase. And we'll see that in just a few minutes. We'll jump into that. So now that we're here, we've got the primary CTA, I'm going to Control click or right click my primary CTA layer, and then I can just come down here and say Make Symbol. And I have a wonderful keyboard shortcut, Command K.
Make.
So now we've got a symbol.
And you can see how the icons changed it to the little cells dividing.
Which matched our assets panel, and there it is showing up here. So let's jump back down. Oh wait, Command O to see everything. And then I'm gonna select this guy and Command 3. And we actually are gonna want this button here. So I just grabbed the button that I made in the symbols, I pulled it in, and this is really not the right size. Is that a tragedy? No, because we can change it. So I am going to grab this guy, grab my button. Hang on, let me get in a little bigger. Hang on, button. Why is it? Do you know why it's not letting me? It's getting me into the. Oops.
Is it just hard to?
There we go. It was just hard for me to grab. I need to zoom in a little more. It's this tricky arthritis, man. I actually.
We are.
We are
you're
getting
75.
old.
I'm 64, right? Didn't we decide on that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sadly, I actually do have arthritis. I wasn't joking.
Oh,
but,
sorry.
I
good job. Way to insult the guest, Paul.
I know. So I think I want to go with 50 pixels high. And so it's 375 wide. I have those 20 pixel wide gutters on either side. So I actually want to remove 40 pixels so that I've got the gutters. So 7 minus 4 is 3, right? So 335. And then I can center this guy. There we go. Okay. And then this guy, I can pull down and center it here. But I think I actually want this to be a bit bigger. So we're having a little bit of, I'm doing this on purpose, teaching to show there is a method to the madness. To show that if I'm changing a symbol, it should actually show the changes up here. See? So because it's a symbol, these are all connected. So if I make a change on one, it's going to show up on others. Although if I do change the text itself, the text can be unique per instance, but things like background colors and all of that, they stay attached to the symbol. So
Nice. So you could change that. I mean, I guess that would still be sign in, but you can change that to something else whenever you're ready.
Exactly.
And it doesn't affect the original symbol. Sweet.
Yes. So there's our symbols. So we've got our sign in button here.
Yeah, so you are using only your trackpad. I've gotten used to just using my trackpad, to be honest with you.
I keep forgetting that this is sitting right next to me.
I do the same thing. I'm like, oh yeah, I spent money on this thing. And I'm just like,
yeah.
You get good.
Exactly.
What do you think, art director, since we have him here?
It feels too advertising.
Oh!
It's not finished, is it?
Oh, you are right. It's not finished.
Is that because of the gradient?
No.
It's not because of the gradient. Is it because of the light font? Are we gonna want to go?
It feels too designed.
Oh, screw you, art director. Wrong show. You're from Adobe Stock. No, I'm just joking. He's the Adobe Stock hovering art director. Says all those.
And they want their drop shadows back.
Oh, we didn't. I don't know. 1980s called. They want their drop shadows back.
Hey, man, the 80s are.
We're not even there yet, man. We're just putting this together. Plus, hey, what if we're going for 80s? You don't know. Sorry to interrupt. I think somebody said art director, and we went on a tangent.
So I actually want to show you what I mean by this. Grouping your buttons together. We're going to hop over to the prototype screen. The keyboard shortcut for it, it's Control-Tab, right? Yeah, and that gets us into the prototyping phase. And if you see here, I've got this nice little group, and I have this little indicator that says, "Hey, Ashley, you can click on this button and drag it over to a screen, and when someone clicks on that button, you'll end up on the screen." So here's the name of the artboard. The transition right now is dissolve, but there's a lot of great transitions: slide left, slide right, slide up, slide down. I'm actually just going to keep dissolve right now. You can change the way that the transition will kind of land with the easing, and then the duration. You can make it longer or slower. So I'm actually going to keep it just basic now, and then you can click the play button. Let's actually quickly jump through here.
I like how you're using the arrow keys to go through that.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
so
to
nice.
tab through.
Yeah.
These ended up, they're hooked up just a little bit funky because I added one of the screens in later last night and I forgot to set it up properly. But and the nice thing is when you copy your documents, your interactions are copied as well. So if you have interactions set up, you duplicate the doc, you start over, it's going to duplicate the interactions. So now we're going to go to play. It should play from here, and then if I click the button, if you notice, none of this is interactive, and then you get the indicator with a little finger that this is interactive. So I've made the button interactive, and when I click it, you end up on the proper screen.
Awesome. Easy enough. I know somebody asked as well, first of all, Christian, welcome from Ecuador. Good to have you here. Fantastic. Asked about, just real fast, about exporting out assets. And you can export out individual assets. Just select them and then go to File, Export. And if you want to export out all the artboards, you just don't select anything and it'll export out all the artboards. But you can export out individual items. And just like you did here, just like you grouped these items together, you might want to have that as a grouped item and output as one. So that's how you keep it as one element as you export it out as well. So it's a good way, even thinking further down the line, a way of like organizing your content. Yeah.
All right.
Tim, Evil Cerise, I could never say that right. We appreciate you, man. Just saying. You are the man. It's always so helpful. What's up, Kathy?
Alrighty, so I'm going to keep going with this
Do
guy.
it. Work it.
SF Pro.
It's kind of hard to... Yeah, you do that.
Yeah, you do that, and you...
Yeah.
We're
I'm
gonna
designing
help each other
something
out.
too. I don't know what. But it's kind of hard to teach and design at the same time. Sometimes you just need to get some work done.
Get your work
Excuse
done,
us, we need to get some work done.
There's login, and then what is it? That was explore. That was the other one. Okay.
So Anita is struggling. I know there was a couple questions in there about like even the color. Looks like we have some InDesign users is what I'm getting at. So Anita is. And first of all, they want the color of XD to be a shade different because it looks like InDesign, similar color. But you wouldn't really, there's no workflow from XD to InDesign. It's pretty much a separate thing. Honestly, you don't need to go into InDesign and publish online. You just hit the publish online button directly in XD. Pakistan's in the house.
Yay!
Junaid, good to see you, buddy. Yay! What time is it there? Is it super late or early? I don't even know. Tell me. All around the world.
All right. So I'm just kind of jamming here. I'm creating some more sizes of text to add over here in our character styles. This one here, and then I'm also kind of careful about where I set my bounding boxes because I'm going to use those for aligning in just a moment. So this one I'm going to add. So I've got 24, 20, 48. And then I want to get this one here, and I need to fix this because I made the button bigger, but I didn't make this guy bigger. So sign in, here we go. There we are. This font I would like to add as well, so let me jump over to my assets panel. And we're gonna get this one, the 24 light and white. So we've got a good array of fonts over here in our assets panel already. And this one, we want to make sure that we have that 20 pixel on either side gutter. So there's 20, 40. I'm going to shave this off and then center it. And these should be creating a really beautiful line there and there. And then sketchnoters, this should be 20 pixels in, and that's also 20 pixels in. Perfect. We haven't done our vertical alignment yet. We're just getting our horizontal alignment. There's one more element that we're going to want to put in here, which is just that little line. If we jump up to the Gaia app, they have that. Let me get rid of this button. We don't need it anymore because I made my little point. This guy, that little, we're going to make that as well with one of our tools. So let's jump down here. And all right. So I think I'm going to use the line tool because it's just a line. So the line tool is over here. It's also L. And then I'm just going to draw a line. And if I hit shift, that's actually going to constrain the way my line is drawn so it stays straight up and down. I think it's like 0, 180, 90. There are certain angles that your line will stay on if you hit shift as you're holding it down. And then the border, I'm going to try a border of 2, and I'm going to make it black. And I want it to be centered. And 37, a height of 37 is a little weird. It's hard to work with the 37. Not a lot of things are divisible or divide into 37 nicely. So I'm just going to make that 40 pixels high. If you guys remember from last time, I like designing according to the metric system. So I like things that end in 0s and 5s. I nudged it up to the bottom of the sign in button, and then I'm going to give it probably a 10 pixel space. And then I want this login and explore to be centered with those lines as well. So there we go. Vertical alignment, so I've got 5 from the top here. We're actually probably going to stick to this 5. There's 2 and then there's 5. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2. There we go. So that's 20 pixels. This is 50 pixels. This is 50 pixels. This is 20 pixels. I have 10 here just because that 20 is a little much. And then I actually want to grab all these guys, bring them down to the bottom, and then I want to come up at least 20 pixels.
Yeah, there you go.
So
Nice.
I've got some nice spacing and alignment. I've got some rhythm in my spacing. And even though it's still pretty low fidelity, I believe the one thing that you shouldn't ever let go of, no matter what the fidelity, is alignment and rhythm in your spacing, or repetition in your spacing, rather.
Okay. Yeah, and because I think it will just like throw people off because your mind just really wants to align things,
Exactly.
and it'll just be annoying for everybody here. If it's a little off, they'll be like, "No, move it over a little bit."
Yeah,
So,
and I apologize if I ever am in the middle of something and then get distracted and they're not lined up yet. That drives me crazy when I look at people's work and I'm like, just move it a pixel, please. All right, so we've got this screen. Now we've got to go into the search screen. So we're doing pretty well. Oh, there is one more thing that I want to do. I actually want to make this little guy. I want to make this guy a symbol as well. And so I'm going to use that little trick that I told you about earlier, which is, so this font is going to be centered. And then I actually, I want to make a text area. Excuse me. So I'm going to make a text area. And I'm going to write
Simonas, we're using Adobe
log
XD.
in. Yes. Thank you. I'm going to make a text area, and I'm going to make it the width of half of the button, if that makes sense. I need to make it just a little taller as well. Okay. And then let me move this guy up on top of here. Okay. And then I can delete Explore because I know what it's going to say. Oh. There we go. I'm going to duplicate this, move it over, and nudge it up. There we go. And then this is going to say Explore. Okay, now this login text and Explore and that little dividing line, I'm going to group it all together. And I'm going to call this is going to be, I'm going to say secondary CTA text links, because I'm going to use that in a moment. Secondary CTA text links. Tab. I accidentally hit escaped. So there we go. There it is titled. And then in here, log in, explore, line 1. There we go. And I'm going to make this a symbol because it's going to end up getting repeated. And I actually am not going to make these interactive pieces, so I can lump it all together, and at this point it doesn't matter. All right, so this, we have just made it so that this next screen, we took a little bit of time up front, and this next screen is going to be a lot faster. So we're going to go 667 to make this the right height. We're going to go into our assets panel. We're going to grab our sign in button.
You could make that background image semi-transparent if you wanted to.
Look at you go, Paul.
Oh yeah, that's nice. I contributed.
Yes. And then and then we're going to grab these guys and pull them in. Okay. So this is actually going to say help. And this is going to say video. It could say watch video, but that was just a lot of text, and I figure people will know what it means if it just says video. And then instead of sign in, it will say create. So it took a little bit of time to make the text areas rather than the text lines so that you could draw the text box out to the width that we want to center within. But then whenever we use different words, so we have different number characters, we still are certain that our text is centered within that area. So it causes less work down the line. So these guys, they're going to come somewhere down here. And what do we have? 10 pixels between. So just shift up arrow once. Now we're going to need this search box, this filter and sort, a little message, and then we have our little navigation bar at the bottom. So which one do we want to do next?
Which screen?
Which of these things on the screen? Which one do you guys want to draw? Do the search box, the filter and sort icon, or the navigation bar?
Yes. That's my answer. Do it all.
Do it all. Okay, let's start in the top left. So we're just gonna go.
We'll debate.
We're just gonna
as
go
you
search.
do that. Go ahead, do your thing.
We're just gonna go search.
The question, I guess people were debating whether login is one word or two.
Oh, I've
Just
looked it up
FYI.
plenty of times. They're actually 2 words. Sign in, log in, look up any grammar, anything, 2 words.
There you have it. Ashley has spoken. End of subject. I'm just joking.
My mother's an English teacher, so... and then I also have had to write a lot of copy over the years that ended up getting published. So that one I know for sure. 2 words. All right, so we've got our... We want to have a border radius of 2 for this to kind of match the button. We do want our... we do want a border. The fill's going to be white, but I actually want to take a peek up at our mood board just to see the pixel dimensions of some of these other apps. So this one here, this is Pinterest. So we can get an idea roughly what the height is. So I'm just hitting R for the rectangle icon, and I'm just tracing over. So their height for this, I got 20, it's probably about 20 pixels. So I do this a lot just because I find it's a lot easier and faster than going into the interface guidelines themselves, or like the app library or whatever. Just have a screenshot of something similar to what you're designing, so you can just trace over to get the dimensions quickly. There are a lot of other ways to do it. It's how I like to do it.
So you work on that. I'm going to switch over real fast. I'll just show, right? Because you're going to be working on that for a sec.
Yeah. Oh, it's 40.
Let me show you some fun things. Take it 2 seconds. So yeah, let's just switch over to me. Disregard my silly file. But in general, 2 things really fast, because yes, when it does get to sort of figuring out the size of things, of course there's the UI kits. We had to build in basically a link out to the site, because this will get updated, right, as iOS updates. That's why it's a link to a file. And then you can see all that wonderfulness right in here, right? You can see how crazy this gets. So that's pretty cool. Everybody knows about that. I want to go beyond that, though. But you could easily come in here and steal a lot of this stuff. And Damien showed this last hour, which I thought was really cool, because out on Behance, there is, if you do a search for wires, it should actually come up. But this is a free wireframe kit, and I thought it was really cool, because there's 170 mobile templates. To get up and fast running quickly, yes, essentially this is what you could use. So that's obviously downloaded. I'll just show you that real fast as Ashley's working away. There's wires mobile and web. We'll open up the mobile version just so you can see, and there's all this stuff. So yeah, because essentially that's what you're doing. It's maybe taking something that's already been made, or at least getting an idea for the size, just like Ashley was doing. What sizes would that text field be? And I'm stalling, see, just to give you a second to do your thing.
Oh,
she's working. She's doing it. She's working it.
Mm-hmm.
Feel free, guys. Adobe Live, hashtag Adobe Live. Post your prototype there in about, what time is it? In about 30 minutes. We'll go ahead and give away Creative Cloud to someone who has posted a prototype with 3 screens around shopping, because, hey, shopping's fun, but of course I'm an American, so it can be fun for me. Always. And I got Michael to smile. My whole goal is to get Michael to smile over here. He's working away. So, awesome. We'll switch back to Ashley and see if you guys... Just plus and minus to zoom in and out. Partha. Command 0 will fit in all the screens. Pretty straightforward. If you have something selected, Command 3 will bring you directly to that item that's selected. Let's see.
So we've got that. And then we're going to come down here and we're going to build our nav.
Work it.
Yeah.
Work that nav. So again, like, you can take any SVG file can be brought into Adobe XD. All right. So if you find one out on the web or copy and paste from Illustrator or even Photoshop, you can copy and paste that and bring it into Adobe XD. So it's pretty straightforward. And you have those full editing capabilities once you bring it in. Yeah, so this is a good question. So, like, it brings up the question of, like, whether you need to design a new experience or just copy a UI. Because then sometimes you just need to seriously, like, just copy a UI. Everybody's used to it. Or do you need to design something new? Who knows?
So I have been doing this for 15 years, and for 15 years I have never found the kit that actually works for me, and I have to go back and remake it anyway. And the only things where that isn't the case is when I'm working on a team that has a custom UI kit already made for us. Like, we have widgets internally that we use, and then the other aspect is that the certain parts from the iOS interface guidelines I use quite a bit.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes. So another thing that I really encourage people to do is actually to not rely on UI kits when you are learning, because it's really gratifying to very quickly put something together that looks great, but you haven't actually learned, you haven't learned how to get good enough to be able to build the kit yourself. So if you really want to dig into a software and you really want to dig in to understand how design patterns and design systems work, study UI kits, figure out how they're put together and, like, reverse engineer them, and then make one of their own. Yep. So so that's what we're doing here.
No, that is good.
Yeah.
And it's good to, I know we also mentioned, when it comes to UI kits, on a semi-related note, there's obviously, like, icons out there. There's the Noun project. So it's good to see, like, hey, if I wanted to have, what's a good symbol for eat? I'd like think about that and be like, what is the Noun project? Like, how do they depict that? This is kind of interesting just to kind of see, And there you can actually download the SVGs too.
Yes.
Which is nice.
Yes, in Noun project, absolutely. Great. So we're actually gonna jump in with some text here for this guy, and let's see of some of these. Yeah. And Kevin, you're actually going to see how, you see this a lot in design, where you get mood boards together and you do comparative analyses, but as you start working and building from things, you do actually branch out and diverge quite a bit. But this is there are some really good mood board kits that you can download as well. I can't recall the URLs right now. I'll look some of those up tonight, but there are some good Photoshop and Illustrator mood board templates. So you would go out and grab a bunch of screenshots, a bunch of images, and you see this a lot also with, like, in real life, the the big boards that you use.
Yeah.
What are they called? The foam core boards that we'll put out in design studios. So people will actually bring in photos of designs they like, apps that they like, and we'll pull colors and all of that, especially early on when we're designing something. So yeah, so it's quite common actually to find this like drawing inspiration from existing applications and all of that.
Yeah, and I mean, everybody has that. Everybody on there, even, I mean, how I end up doing things is just doing screen captures on my phone. Do you do that? Like,
Yes.
ideas, you're like, screen, well, actually, that's where those came from, huh?
Yep.
So you're just like, and so that's like, that becomes your, I don't even know, just your little design archive or whatever of cool stuff.
Exactly. So then there's search, there's create, there's, what else is it? Search, create, this is favorites, and then there's account over here.
Okay.
Account, great.
So, Neha, just so you know, the mock-up contest, or whatever you want to call it, is our contest that we're running right now. Just needs to be a shopping theme, 3 screens minimum, post to Twitter, hashtag Adobe Live. I'm keeping an eye on it. I see a couple in there already. But that's where it's going.
Yeah. All right, so we've got,
How to undo, Command Z.
yeah, we've got these guys. I have to group all of these together because I need to be able to not only move them together on the design side, but I also need to be able to make them interactive on the prototype side. So I'm going to distribute evenly horizontally. That's okay for now. They're a little off in between, but we can go back and fix that later. Because I want to show how cool it is to actually start making these things interactive.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Interactive is fun.
Yes. So this, I'm actually going to make it disappear completely. And we're just going to come into the prototyping mode, and I'm going to show you how to take these guys and hook them up to your other screen. So you can do prototyping mode here, or what is it? Control tab to switch over to prototype. Okay, and this guy, you've got your little indicator. This is actually going back to the screen, so we don't need to worry about that. Search is going to come over to here. And if you notice that what I titled the artboard, the word search is matching what's in the navigation, so that makes it easier for me at this phase to hook the navigation up to the proper screen. So there we've got search, create, takes us to the camera access there. Favorites is going to take us to this screen over here, and account is going to take us to this screen over here.
Boom.
Yep. So then if we press play, we actually have from here, I can go
Can
to...
you move it out a little bit?
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah.
Or I can hide under the table. There, thank you.
So there we go. So we can jump to the search page, which of course we haven't built that out yet. There's the search page. We can also go to our create page, which this button and this will both take you to the same page. And then, let's see, favorites, I'm gonna take you here. And account is gonna take you here. So yeah, spacing isn't quite right yet. We don't have all of the boards that we go to built out yet, but we're already creating the correct flow.
And so, and just to kind of finish this off, to have it go back, can you I guess I don't even know if you want to just select that screen. I think this is cool. Just like the one that it's going to, so the allow access, that one, if you just click on that, and we'll just add, oh, it's already going back. But I like that you can have it go back to the previous screen.
Yes.
That's kind of nice. So it just makes it kind of quick and easy. So right in there.
So previous artboard. Mhm.
Yeah.
So if you ever want essentially a back button, you can say.
And I do it this exact same way. Link everything up, point to those artboards, and then you do the drop down, select previous artboard, and it will remember your last setting. So you just go to the next one.
Yeah.
You just it just makes it really easy since it remembers the last one, and you have everything going back to where they came from.
Exactly. The other thing that I want to mention is you get these vestiges of old naming and numbering systems. So favorites, if you notice, originally I called it the activity feed, but I changed the name to favorites later on. So this is called favorites, and then these screens here are called activity. And if any of you guys code, you'll know that happens a lot in code. Well, you'll name something the old name, then it ends up getting changed.
Professional photographer.
We have a professional photographer. Hello.
Did you do your? I'm so ridiculous.
So let's come back into our design mode, and we can really quickly, let's bring this guy back, and we're gonna say, we're gonna finish up this screen. Welcome, Sam. And then we'll prompt him to create his first icon.
So, and Ryan, by the way, yeah, if you guys are making anything in XD, we would just love to see it. Just use that hashtag Adobe Live. That's how you can kind of communicate with us. Yeah, for the most part. But yeah, so love to see anything you're working on. Course shopping is going to be for the contest.
Okay. So this guy, I think I'm going to go with the 20 or 24. This one, I will do, and out of my way, I will do the 48. Okay. And then we're going to grab these and move them over. There we go. So that's 20. And let me make this just a little smaller. And then we're going to have kind of repeat the same spacing that we had before. There's 10, 20, 30, there's 50, and then this one we're going to do 20.
Cool. Awesome. Real fast while you're working on that, just a quick shout out. It looks like Ryan Abery created this app, at least prototyped it solely in, forget to switch to my screen if you don't mind. Prototyped it in Adobe XD, so it's called Lucid VR. I haven't kind of been through it, but I'm curious as to hear about your experience, because it says that you did the whole app all wireframed in XD. So you can see that, you know, this is sort of real world stuff. Even though it is a beta, you can use it for whatever you want today. And yeah, so feel free. It doesn't even have to be an app. It could be any sort of experience, quite frankly. So yeah, shout out. Switched.
So I'm making all of these guys symbols. Whoop. Gotta group those together. And then that guy, I'm gonna group that. And this is another little trick that I do. A lot of you probably know. If I'm ever grouping things together, and I want to make sure that I've grabbed everything that I actually want for the group, I just do a shift down and a shift up so I can see everything that I've grouped moving. And if not everything moves, then I know I haven't grouped it right.
Right.
So here's the filter icon. Okay, I keep doing that. Filter icon. Tab. There we are. And then make symbol. There we are. So we've got some good symbols going. We've got the search bar as a symbol. We've got the filter icon as a symbol. And we've got this little bottom bar. We haven't quite yet made a symbol of all of these, so we're going to do that now. We're going to group all of these and make a symbol. Let me make sure this is going to say bottom nav, tab that, and make a symbol. Okay, now I'm actually going to jump from here, we can actually jump these screens for a moment, come over here, and we have this bit and this bit made. So we're going to go a little faster here, and I'm going to come into my symbols panel, and I'm going to drag in my filter icon. I just left out the sort for a moment. Do you know why this is happening?
What's that?
So the sizes, this wasn't happening when I was preparing. So what's happening is I'm making my symbols over here, and you see the size here. I've made the symbol. And then I come over here, and if I drag the symbol from here, it's actually resizing. Is that the same? I think that's actually the same.
It might be just an illusion, actually.
I think it's actually an optical illusion.
Yeah, it's so
Can you tell that I tend to overthink things?
Well, and do know that at least the way it currently is set up, if it's a symbol, you actually can't resize it. So there's pros and cons to that. It's a pro in this case.
Got it.
Because it's going to be the same.
That's what it was. It was a total optical illusion. That's
Isn't that interesting?
so bizarre. It looked like it was maybe 10 pixels smaller or something like that. Oh my goodness. Well, there we go. Cognition. That's a fun thing to study. So there we go. So actually, now that we've made symbols, we can put together a bunch of these screens really quickly. And now I'm actually just going to copy these. Copy, paste, paste, paste.
I love how it just pastes in place, too.
This is...
that's how it should always work that way.
Exactly.
Like it just should.
Exactly. And, yep, and then the other ones, I'm actually going to paste, but then just delete this guy, because I don't need it. And paste. Oh my goodness. I forgot my filter icon. I'm going to come back and do that. And just paste in place. And then I already have a lot of my following screens have elements to them ready to go. So we're going to keep building out these repeating assets as symbols, and then once we have them, we're just going to copy and paste them in place, and you'll start seeing everything kind of filling out ahead of time. Not ahead of time, quickly. It is really hard to talk and design at the same time. I can't believe you do this
we
all
want
the
you
time.
to talk, and you got to be an exceptional designer, and we also need you to be witty and informative and all the things. So go. Make it happen now.
More
Entertain
tea,
us
please.
and make cool stuff. More beer. Just kidding. It's iced. It's coffee. Cold
Okay.
brew.
So I'm actually going to jump into this one because this one is a fun one. Let me save it too. I haven't saved this file yet.
Come on, guys. So many people online. We just needed one person. Save.
The closer we get to being done, the weirder my hair is going to get.
I get the same way. Is that what happens?
I think you see me like
I do that
this.
too. When I'm kind of stressed out about things, I start doing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which means I'm going to be bald someday, basically. Are you going
I'm never going to go bald. This actually stimulates
it does
more
stimulate.
hair growth.
There you go. All right. Your hair is getting long and luscious, and mine's I'm going to lose it.
Yeah. I don't.
Brazil's in the house. Chris, what's up? Good to see you. So, yeah.
So I want to show you something really cool with Adobe Stock. And this is something that really excited me when I was preparing for this. So you jump over to Stock.
If you could say it, you don't even have to say it. Just jump over there.
To Stock. Click. I've been looking for sketchnote assets to see if they're in there. Click go. Believe it or not, I am on Adobe's Wi-Fi network, so everyone gets to see how fast or slow Adobe's Wi-Fi network is. There are sketchnote assets in here. So there's this guy that I've downloaded. This guy, you can see I've licensed those. And then, I actually went and I think I did hand-drawn teapot. And I looked for hand-drawn teapot. And believe it or not, there are hand-drawn teapots that you can grab. Most of them are Illustrator files that you can grab from Adobe Stock. Mm-hmm. This made my prep work so much faster. Mm-hmm. So I saved them to my library. my library here, just different from the app icon library that we're building. So these are some of the images that I've stuck in.
And I love how, like, even the one in the upper, well, a lot of these upper left, like for whatever, 1 credit or whatever, it looks like you downloaded like 100 little sketch icons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I was really relieved when I saw that. And then we go into, I set up a little assets folder ahead of time with some Adobe stock. And these were the images that we used, the hand-drawn teapot and then the sketchnote background. So, yeah.
Oh, no, I'm just going to point out that somebody mentions Adobe XD would be, well, actually, no, it's Ryan Ford, yeah. So a paste all option, what a good idea. Mm-hmm. So paste on all artboards.
That would be awesome. Or paste all or paste select. And you can say I want it on this one, this one, this one, this one.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
That would have just saved me like 5 minutes.
Adobe XD.uservoice.
Yes.
I love the idea.
Brilliant. Who was it that said
Adobe
that?
XD.uservoice.com, Ryan Ford.
Ryan Ford.
Good job, Ryan. Here's
Great idea, Ryan.
Wish I could give you something.
So, hand-drawn teapot. I want to stick this guy in. Dun da da da. It's a little big. So, let me actually, what was it? I think I want to bump it down to width of 200. Move it over. Something like that. No. How? Let me see.
What do you want to do?
Oh!
Make it smaller?
I can tell normally if I was working, I would get up, I would go for a little walk, and I'd get a cup of tea, and then I would come back. I'm starting to have brain farts. It is hard on the live stream.
No, I know what's going on.
Farts. What's going on is it constrained proportions. When I had the selected, and it constrained proportions.
So if you have something selected and you drag it in, it'll like replace it. So
Exactly.
it'll be in like a container.
And I actually don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to do this, make it a little smaller. What did I say? Like maybe 300? Yeah, that's about the right size. Yeah, and then what I want to do, I'm going to draw another rectangle. So this is one of my cheats.
And you have about 10 minutes, just so you know.
Okay, this is one of my cheats.
About 5 minutes or so. Like we'll save time to review the designs everybody did too.
Ah, cool. So where arrange. There's send to back. There's also, most of you guys know this, the keyboard shortcut. It's Shift, Command, and then it's square bracket opened toward the right, and that should send it to the back. So I want this to look like he's taking a picture of a hand-drawn icon. Hi. So I am going to take the fill for this rectangle, grab the little eyedropper tool, and I'm just going to copy the color that was the background for that.
Oh, cheat.
That's my cheat. So now it looks...
Nobody's going to know, except for you guys, except for the 1,200 people.
The 1,200 people that I've had.
Just us and a few of our close friends.
Yeah. The
That's good,
1,200
like
people that I've had little brain farts.
Because your first thought is like, let me key that out somehow, but don't even sweat it.
Yeah. So I've got, this is what you're going to be taking a picture of. We're going to use the ellipse tool to draw a nice circle, and as you all probably know, if you hold down the shift key, you can constrain proportions and keep it a nice even circle. I think I'm 50 by 50, 60 by 60. I think that's okay. I don't want a border. The fill, I am going to have the fill be actually the same little green color because that's our interaction color. And believe it or not, this is actually our primary call to action. And then I have these little features that I pulled from Office Lens, and I use Office Lens all the time when I am working, when I'm sketchnoting to take color-corrected photos of my sketch notes, and then it also corrects the edges so that I get straight lines and right angles on the edges. But they have these great filters where if you're taking a photo, a picture of a document, a picture of a whiteboard, and a few others. So
that's good.
That's actually functionality that I would hope to have in something like this.
She's just using her touchpad. Come on.
Yeah, I brought this, but
Is
I
this
keep
for show?
It's just for show. I keep forgetting it's sitting next to
do
me.
all the time.
And then
I like that. So Photoshop, photo, document, sort of like whiteboard. Sweet.
And then there's actually going to be a little indicator at the bottom, so you can actually slide right or left through these. Get the little pen tool, which is also P, I believe, the keyboard shortcut. P, yay! And then I'm going to click one in the center and then just bring this guy down toward the bottom.
5 minutes. 5 minutes, we're going to have Talon Wadsworth and Danielle Morimoto. Hi, Danielle. How are you doing? Awesome. Going to be up next. Going to be awesome.
So
Good thing we have. This is actually looking really fantastic. No, I think it's good. I mean, to think how much we've gotten done.
Yeah.
Pretty pictures.
To this.
Oh yeah, there's your indicator.
Yeah, my little indicator. It's not quite centered again. I'm feeling the time pressure. I'll go
It's
back
okay.
and
You don't need to finish today. It's just such a cliffhanger.
I know.
How's it gonna come out? Is she gonna go with the teal color? No, I don't know. Like, what are you?
That's a really good
Designers
question.
want to know.
Is she gonna go with teal?
All right. Perfect. So we do have a few to show here, if you don't mind. I don't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, go for it. I'm gonna keep jamming.
You and yeah, I think these are all. Looks like I have about 4, so we'll just switch to my screen real fast. So again, yeah, we'll just switch over to my screen. Just so you guys know, hashtag Adobe Live is where I'm pulling this from good old Twitter. Okay, so the idea is you're supposed to make a shopping app, minimum of 3 screens. Looks like I have a couple in here. I don't think we've shown this one yet. Some of these I could use maybe your help, Chris or Michael, just to make sure that we haven't given away Creative Cloud any one of these. But looks like we have. Who's this? This is actually, let me step back. Sorry about that. Neha Sood. Awesome. So I don't think you guys reviewed this earlier. So Fashion Made Easy. Yeah, let's go ahead. Oh, little transition. Nice pictures. We check out the full collection. I like how this actually matches the dress, which is pretty awesome. I'll go ahead and buy it. Yeah. Why not? Because I'm made of money, apparently. $219. I don't even think that dress is going to fit me, but I can pick the size right here. Right? Very cool overall. So thank you so much, Neha Sood, Fashion Design.
That's beautiful.
Next one. Let me go back just so I can get their name right. We have Ticket Sauce by Anve Chowdhury. And if this is you online, just post in the chat so I know that you guys are here. Again, published from XD. I can dive in. Let's go ahead and check out, say for instance, this marathon is what it looks like. Let's see if I can go back. Looks like it's actually, I can pick a concert. I can pick the time. Notice how I can toggle. I really like that. Click continue. Let's see how many seats are available. Let's go ahead and buy this seat and then check out. So here's a pretty straightforward ticket app for the most part, with a bunch of gorgeous screens. I wonder if you made this today, because it looks like a lot of work. I'm certainly impressed. Look at this slide out menu. Certainly awesome. Wow. All right. So those are 2, and we only have like a minute left. Ticket Sauce and Buy Fashion. We'll review these 2. We have others in the queue that we'll review as well. But which one do you like, Ashley? I don't know if you had a chance to take a look at these. 1 minute. We're going to go with this one because we only have a minute. And that's how it works. This one, Ticket Sauce. Ticket Sauce, Anve Chadhare wins 1 year of Creative Cloud. Ticket Sauce, again, fantastic. I love this transition. Makes sense. A lot of screens. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ashley. You're fantastic. I know you're working away.
I'm going to need to have a snack at the 1 hour mark next time. I swear to God, 30 minutes left.
It went by like that.
Yeah, but then my brain started getting fried, and I didn't know what I was doing. And
yeah, you're working.
That's what chat is.
Yeah, all this. Thank you so much, David.
Thank
Nina,
you.
Thank you, everybody out there.
For the chat.
Thank you,
I'll see you
Ashley.
guys tomorrow.
Stick around, Danielle. Talent up next. Stick around, guys. Thank you.